Welcome to the CFL Outsider, a short series of totally impartial hot takes, odd takes, and generally unconventional opinions on the CFL and Canadian football, with your host and presenter, Old Man Shouting at Clouds.
Hey kids, welcome back to the CFL Outsider for week 15. Just call me the Gridiron Jon Snow, because apparently I know nothing. Oh, what a weekend. What a weekend. Anyway, I am back as your totally impartial, 100% unbiased, and frankly thoroughly confused host and presenter, Old Man Shouting at Clouds. And yeah, don't know how anybody did on the weekend. On Pick'em, Fantasy, I didn't do well. Fantasy, I believe I was 98 point something, not quite 100 yet, but I didn't take Nathan. I took Drew. I thought that'd be safer. Apparently it wasn't. Pick'em, apparently the CFL gives you credit for a tie on Pick'em because I'm at 37 and out of 59, it says, which is about 62%. But really, I went 0 for 3 on the weekend. And it's been a crazy time here at Old Man's house, too. Way back, before the before times, way back in the mists of the history, I met this incredible goddess. She says she's a woman. I know better. And somehow I gave her the old razzle-dazzle and convinced her that being with me was a good thing to do. And lo, many, many years later, I am extremely happy that the goddess is in my life. Now, one thing that she does is she competes in something called the Rebel Rally. I don't know if you've heard about this, but if you're a female watching who likes off-roading, or if you know any females who like off-roading, you should know about the Rebel Rally. I'll put a couple of links in the description of the episode here, one for the rally itself and one for the goddess's team, the Cantoy Divas, and you can take a look at it. I'll throw a few pictures down here too so that you can see it, but basically this is not some little powder puff thing. This is an all-women's 7-day navigation rally that tests you like you would not believe. There are factory professional teams in this competing. The goddess and her partner have been at it on their own, totally self-financed and competing in a Toyota Tacoma, and they've won the International Cup every year they competed, 4 out of the last 5. And that's pretty impressive. That's for the highest scoring international team in the event. It takes place down in California and Nevada, a little bit in Arizona, I think. It is truly amazing. Like I said, check it out if you haven't seen it before. So anyway, why is this important? Well, why am I telling you about this? Well, because it's been a fun week here at the Old Man's house lately. The goddess and her partner compete, I think, about October 12th or 15th, something like that is the start this year. So they've got to be ready at the start of October to head down to California and get in this. And for the last month and a half beforehand, the packing takes place. And it starts out with taking everything they could need for this, making sure they're not short of everything. And then comparing it to how much space there is in the vehicle. And invariably, it's about 5 to 1, the stuff for the space. So then the packing starts, and we pack as much as, or that's not fair. The goddess packs as much as she can into it. I stay out of that. I've learned I'd love to be helpful, but it's like sticking your hand into a moving blender. I ain't going to do it. There's a process that they've got down pat, so I just let them do it. But like I say, about a month of pack, oops, can't fit it all still. Unpack, sort, pack. Nope, still not there. Again, weekend after weekend. So that's been leaving me lots of time to enjoy the football at least, because I'm not called on to do any of that stuff. And they're now down to about the point where I believe they've almost got it sorted, which means there will be another 2 weeks now of, yeah, but what if? I'm glad they have a good time with it. It is incredibly challenging, and I'm so proud of her for being in it. If anyone cares, she's the navigator. Tuffy, her partner, is the driver. Okay, so that's what's going on here, and that's why I've had lots and lots of time as old man to think about football and the other things I like doing and whatnot. And I'm going to start here with just a little bit of a rant, tiny little bit of a rant. This is for all the coaches in the CFL out there who go fishing with challenges. They try and create a big play or take an opponent's big play off the board by throwing a challenge flag, hoping that they'll get some kind of a ruling when it's really nothing there to rule on. And it slows down the game and it frustrates our fans, and it shouldn't happen. But they're coaches. They're going to go for every advantage that they can. And I think there's an easy way to fix this. So I'm calling for the CFL. In the off season, let's change the rule. Instead of a failed challenge costing you a timeout, which isn't all that much in the CFL, how about it's a 15-yard delay of game penalty on the field? You call the wrong thing, your team goes back like that. We'll see a lot more judicious use of challenge flags if they do. Anyway, that's my complaint this week. It was Coach Dinwiddie on the weekend that went fishing on it and made me think of it. So let's talk about the games, though. Game 1 was Toronto 33 at BC 17. Snakebit. And they were. Matty on the pregame panel had a great line. Well, it was Milt that had the great line. Matty said that both these quarterbacks, Nathan and the Chad, were still just babes in arms. And Milt asked, does that mean they're still breastfeeding? Which is a really funny line, but frankly felt a little creepy because the Chad was one of the quarterbacks they were talking about. Anyway, we got into the game. Didn't look terribly great for BC. Noticed early on that, well, it's great for BC that they're packing the stadium again and really getting a lot of new fans in there. They're new fans, and they got to teach them because they were creating a lot of noise when the offense was on the field, and Nathan was even calling for it to quiet down. So obviously not the seasoned fans like you and I. I'm guessing that if you're watching this, you're one of us. The Chad did get a couple of runs in the first that went nice with some help. In the very first one, Adrian Green made a very nice block on Ely to set the Chad off for 15 yards right up the middle. And then right after that, Betts decides he's going to take an inside rush move when there is no outside contained there at all, and the Chad flips out and goes for another 12 yards. So yeah, BC wasn't exactly on their game, I wouldn't say. They did try and make it a game. They got the touchdown with Nathan at the end of the half there, but then Toronto answered. All the BC receivers were quiet, and Hatcher did have, early in the second quarter, had a very nice catch that he had to tip 2 or 3 times and concentrated on. But just in general, they look so lackluster. When the Lions win, they come out and they play well, and they win big. But when they don't come out to play, so many of the games, almost all the ones they're losing, you see them walking around while the play's still going on. They're not hustling. The only one I saw hustle at all was Aiden Eberhardt when he through the game several times, but he got paid off recovering that fumble, which was very nice. If the rest of the team would do that during these games, they would probably be winning. So I don't know if it's coaching or something in the locker room or what, but they really do need to find some way to have a consistent effort out of the team. What else can I talk about here? I've noticed over the last games, Coach Dinwiddie out of Toronto there, really loves going for it when he's down near the goal line on third down. If he's got anything close, and it's obvious what his strategy is he figures his defense is good enough that if they don't get it in, the defense will make him go 2 and out. He gets the ball back at the 50 and can come in and try for the touchdown again. Whereas if he kicks the field goal, the opposition gets the ball at the 40, and they're off to the races. So it makes some sense. And it sometimes works out. Sometimes it doesn't. The Sasky game, they won, but it didn't work well there. Sasky stuffed them, 8 or 9 times on the goal line? And other teams have been doing it too. So we'll see if he keeps up with that line of thinking on his offense. What else could I talk about here? The coaches lately have been, both coaches in this game, although not both in this game, are getting quick on the challenge flags. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm talking about Dinwiddie from 2 weeks ago, last time that they played in Hamilton. He threw a challenge flag very early, and the challenge flag almost hit the turf before the penalty flag did. So he was very definite on that. And then this game, Campbell was out there, second play from scrimmage, and he's throwing his challenge. And just if you're keeping score, both of them were, the plays on the field were confirmed, and they lost their challenge and got nothing out of it. So not sure what that says, but it's something. What else do I have that I could talk about here? Oh, automation is everywhere. I've noticed that. We're talking about we're losing our jobs to automation all over the place. Well, this was another case of it. Apparently, BC has fired their old linemen and installed a bunch of automated turnstiles because they were just click, 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 the defenders running right through there. Would have been a lot worse, actually, without a few things going on. I mean, Patrice Rene had a beautiful block punt there, but too little, too late. It also would have been a lot worse if the Chad didn't forget how to throw every time he gets in the red zone. It's amazing. All in all, yeah, well, the highlight of the game, frankly, might have been Ben Major when the kick hit the scoreboard again. Him and Andre Prue should take their act on the road. They've got great comedic timing as officials. And then the last thing is just, like I said, it was one of those games. It was Snakebit. BC was Snakebit. Their defense looked confused, especially early in that second half. But through the whole game, they weren't tackling well. And the offense, they had -1 total yards at the end of the first quarter. And I think like 220 for the game. So, yeah, it wasn't happening for them on that day. And that lets us go on then to game 2, which was Ottawa 21 at Hamilton 37. Snakebit 2, the sequel. Yeah, again, Ottawa, better team, should have won this game, but it wasn't even close. Things started bad for Ottawa right off the get-go. They were already down Santos Knox, their Mac backer, so they had the backup in there. And Will and Sam go out in the first defensive series of the game. Yes, Griffin got back in at Sam as the game went on, and he did help, but still, they were struggling without their main linebackers on there. And then they started, both teams, basically dueling fumbles and dueling 2-and-outs. Both teams fumbled early on, and when the opposition got it, they couldn't take advantage of it. So the game started really slow like that. And then you get things like, I've noticed, this isn't specific to this game, but I've noticed it a lot. How frustrated are you as a DB or a linebacker when you got somebody who's like a yard or two before the first down marker and you're doing everything you can to just hold them, make sure that they do not get that first down, and one of your D linemen comes flying in from behind and smashes them and drives them about 3 yards forward across it. I do remember as a backer that used to drive me crazy, and I noticed it a few times in this game. Eli Stove was the returner for Ottawa, and his first return, I mean, he looked okay. His first return made me think of Chris Berman, because he was a stumbling and a bumbling down the field, and yeah, it looked kind of like a controlled 20-yard fall. I don't know. Did nobody bother to tell Tommy Condell that the screens weren't working in the game? Because he didn't seem aware of that. He was tenacious with them. And speaking of tenacious, Jeremiah Masoli made sure that he was going to get a touchdown for Miller come hell or high water. Oh, and yeah, I'm sure, like, hopefully if you've seen this, you already know that you have to watch the games to understand all of this. So I'm assuming you know why Mazzoli's in there. Mazzoli was put in because Brown's luck finally ran out. He's a gunslinger, and he's had incredible luck all season. I've seen more than half a dozen times in previous games where he's thrown the ball right to a defender, and they drop it, and he's gotten away with it. This game, not so much. This game, the Hamilton DBs actually had hands that were not made of stone or granite like these old puppies, and they were they took advantage of their chances. This was the Hall of Fame game, so we had a few people with pictures, and I wondered just who decides the hierarchy on how good you are in the Hall of Fame? You know, who gets a mention, who gets a sideline interview and who gets a booth interview. You know, somebody's got to be making those decisions. This is another case of embrace the chaos for the CFL because, wow, look at that. A 95-yard fumble return touchdown. Oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God. Oh, no, apparently not. Oh, I was really disappointed. Well, I mean, it was, I don't know, maybe that's strong. Maybe a mew should be better because on the punt return, it should have been called back. Taylor Tarnowski, at the point of attack, made a clear and obvious holding penalty. His arms went out to the outside of the body, which is already said. One wrapped over the shoulder pad, and he put the player in a bear hug. And no penalty on it. And on top of that, Dwayne Ford, with his obvious offensive bias, calls it a great block by Tarnowski. Yeah, if you're allowed to use whatever technique you want, if you're actually playing within the rules, it was a holding call. Oh, I do think as well, there was a point in like the third quarter before Hamilton kind of got things going together and that I wondered how Ottawa was still within a few points of them. But, I mean, it was self-evident that Hamilton had missed a couple of field goals. They threw an interception in the end zone. They couldn't seem to capitalize on Ottawa's mistakes and left Ottawa in the game, who also couldn't capitalize on that. Not the greatest games this weekend. Although I will say I was impressed that Bob Dice, when they put Mazzoli in and started making that comeback and got the first touchdown, he didn't make the mistake I've seen 2 or 3 coaches make in the past few weeks. He didn't say, oh, we're way behind, let's go for the 2-point convert and get a bunch of points in a hurry. He knew the score. He knew that he was going to need 2 points, probably, but not to kill the momentum when it was just starting and kick the convert. Smart coaching. There's a reason they're doing as well as they are. There's probably several reasons, but Bob Dice is one of them. Let's see, anything else? No, I think that about covers all I've got to go on about in this one. So let's move on to Game 3. Montreal 19 at Calgary 19. Anti-Venom. Sort of. I mean, they came back to tie it. So the snakebite didn't kill them the way it did the other 2 teams. But Montreal was just not on either. This was a weekend for the favorites to just be off their games. So let's see. Oh, the first thing that happened was I turned on the TV and had the shot from TSN of the Calgary warm-ups, and I thought the color on my set was screwed completely. What the hell is that orangish stuff? I forgot they were doing their orange shirt day early. I not forgot, I didn't know, but for just that long I thought, what the crap? I thought early on the Montreal's first punt, if you want to go back and see a textbook clinic open field solo tackle, go look at what Tyrell Richards did on the Calgary returner there. That was very impressive. The interview that he gave, Jake Mayer said that he may have to start taking more chances if the team wants to win. And I found that a curious comment made by somebody who had thrown 4 interceptions the last time he'd been on the football field. Who knows? The Owls definitely, though, they were just not with it for much of the game. They lacked focus all the way through the game. They did enough to come back and get that victory, but, you know, the perfect example of just where their heads were at in the game, there's maybe 6 or 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They've got a punt return on. Calgary's had to punt to them. Calgary punts it out of bounds outside of the 15. So they could have got a 10-yard penalty there, but Letcher goes rushing over and grabs it just before his steps out of bounds, negating that penalty. And then at the same time, Rambo comes down and takes an unnecessary roughness for 15 yards. So Montreal lost 25 yards of field position at a point in the game where they're 3 points down and scrapping and fighting to try and get back to that for the tie or the win. Just not good football. No. I miss Sarah Oleski. What else could we talk about? Oh, yeah. Embrace the chaos again. It's a block punt touchdown. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, yes, 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 yes. No, it's not. They changed the rule. Apparently now you have to I don't know, block the punt by wizard spelling, or, you're not allowed to come within 100 yards of the kicker and you're supposed to block it. They're saying the new rule is that even if you touch the ball, you have to avoid all contact with the kicker. Yeah. Okay. Anything else that we can talk about it here? I guess maybe not so much. So let's just move on to the last little extra bits that I've got to talk about here. That roughing the kicker call that I talked about there, to me that is ridiculous. I know we want player safety, but the times you get a blocked punt are so few and far between, and the injuries from them are almost, even where there is contact, are almost negligible. And they're very exciting plays. They turn a game around. If you're now saying that you can't even touch a kicker without taking a penalty and having the block overturned, the great play overturned, they're killing one of the most exciting plays in the game. Really, CFL, look at this off-season rule. Put it back in. If nothing else, it gives the team an incentive to get the punt off in time so their punter doesn't get hit. But if a player makes a play as good as they did with Montreal there, that should count. You can't make it impossible for defenses to make any stops. Yeah, I know, we all love high scoring and stuff. Well, that took scoring off the board. Okay. What else can I talk about? I guess really the only other thing is I was disappointed again that this command center, a few weeks back, they did their reset. They said, we're only going to get involved on stuff clear and obvious. We're really only going to get involved if there's a challenge flag thrown, and then we're not going to take things at slow motion to see what's what. So we get down to the end of this game, and it's about as exciting as it's going to get in a 19-19 tie. Montreal's got the ball. There's under, I think, 2 minutes left. They're trying to get into field goal range. Reggie White makes a catch on the sidelines that, in the end, it didn't make a difference whether it was complete or not complete. He makes a catch. It's ruled complete. We're ready to go on. All of a sudden, here we go again. The command center is beat down. We're reviewing that. And when you look at it, yeah, the ball touched the ground. When you slowed it down to ultra slow motion and froze it right at that point, which is not clear and obvious. So, just stop that. CFL, we as fans will accept some mistakes from the on-field officials. They're humans. They're not perfect. As long as it's something that isn't obvious, blatant, clear and obvious, as you keep saying, then we'll live with it. But this slows down the game, and it just takes the energy out. It kills momentums on drives. So please, unless somebody actually, pulls a knife and stabs someone and it goes uncalled, don't be getting involved, especially not in those last 3 minutes when it really is an exciting time to watch football. That's me all done. Grumpy, bitchy, snarky old man, but hopefully a few little chuckles in there for you too. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you do, it's beg time. Please subscribe. If you know anyone else that might like this, share. If you have a chance, put down a comment, or even if you want to make my day, just hit the like button. It's really nice to go in there and check how the video's doing and see that there's people watching it and they actually like it. So yeah, easy to make someone's day. Please do that for me. Other than that, I hope you have a great week. I hope you enjoy what should be some good football this weekend. And until next week, get the hell off my lawn.